Welcome to A Funny Thing Called Business. We are 4 business owners with over 30 years collective experience under our belts, sharing the capers and triumphs of running a small business and how we now avoid perilous customer chaos and pitfalls. I'm Clare Whalley. We also have
Darren Langley,
Kate Curry,
Pete Morgan.
Today we are talking about, are you too old to start a business?
Yeah, if you're older than 32 and a half, you are too old.
Too old.
The statistics are in.
Give up your dreams. You're working for the man forever. That's it. You're done.
Let's start by sharing, how old were you when you started your business? So, Kate, give us your number.
I think, oh my gosh, hold on. I think I was definitely in my 30s. I think I was 33, 34, around about that time. And I think, me personally, I don't know whether trying to do it any earlier than that would have been, I know it's one of those things, like finding the right age for you, isn't it? When all the things align in your life. But yeah, I think I was 33.
I was 31. What about you, Pete?
45.
45.
Because that was the decision.
Yeah.
I was working and thinking, I'm 45 this year. So actually, I was 44. And I thought, I don't want to still be doing this and be 50.
Yeah.
So I know that it was in the run-up to my 45th birthday.
Yeah.
That was
So did it feel like a now or never kind of thing?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Interesting. Darren, how old?
I was 32 years and 8 months.
Oh, right. So we were all quite
Nice.
similar. Me,
Yeah.
Kate and Darren were all quite similar.
Yeah.
So I had a little look around at, what we would consider successful business owners to see how old people were when they started. Colonel Sanders
Here we
was
go.
65.
Get out.
He was. And Steve Jobs was 51 when he was kind of considered really kind of successful. That's,
Right.
51 when that happened. So, we were kind of, I think we were quite young when we started, to be doing it in your early 30s.
Do you, so did Claire and Darren, do you feel like Kate did that if you'd have started it any earlier, it just wouldn't have worked?
Well, I remember, when I was started networking, and my now current accountant kind of remembers seeing me walk in the room, and he thought I was a college student. He thought I'd kind of escaped from the, the sixth form college across the road. So I think when I started, and because I'm short, maybe it's my own hang-up, but I do think people viewed me as very young, and therefore what did I know about helping people grow a business? So I think my age, being younger, kind of hindered me at the start.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you and I obviously both had corporate backgrounds, so I think there's only so long that if you have a bit of an entrepreneurial will about you, maybe there's only so long you can work for corporate,
it's only
before
so
you
long
do
you'll
want to
last.
just do your own thing. But no, I don't think it was too. I don't think it was necessarily that. I think I could have started it earlier if I'd had the guts to, but maybe, and I think it would have been fine. And I don't think there's any minimum age to be able to consider yourself, as long as you've got, the right stuff.
Yeah.
So what do you define as stuff?
I suppose the ideas, the aspirations. I think, if the experience side of it, which I guess is what that point is about, that having had like 10 or more, probably about 10 years of experience, I think it was, I had in working for other businesses, that obviously gives you a lot of learnings from that. I think if you try to start a business without that 10 years or however many years of practical experience, it's probably, you don't know what you don't know then. You're in a situation where you could make those kind of mistakes that you might otherwise have not made if you'd been learning from other people in a bigger organisation. But so I think it's probably harder if you're young. It's probably harder to actually get it right first time starting your own business. But it's still doable, and there's still plenty of good examples of young people starting businesses.
I think there's good examples to support either, isn't
Yeah,
there?
yeah,
Too
yeah.
old, too young.
Definitely.
So, Pete, what about you being nearly 45, starting your own business?
We've talked before about I had never, I'd been on radio for 30 years, so all I had to do was open a microphone and just talk, and that was my job. So that was the kind of biggest shock is just the breadth of stuff that I was going to have to start doing.
Yeah.
And the fact that I didn't know any of it. I was not aware, I didn't read up, I didn't, kind of marketing plans or 90-day forecasts or exit strategies.
Yeah.
All of that was just alien language to me.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm doing this thing. People give me money and I'm going to do it for them.
But I think we could all say the same, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Kate, Darren and I, starting our early 30s. I mean, I've got lots of experience of growing a business in a corporate, but really, it doesn't really translate to growing your own business. So did you come into the business with any experience of growing a business?
Oh, God, no.
No, I mean, and I think we might have said this before, but like I started, and I think Kate, you're the same, and you're probably the same as I, and certainly Peter, I went into business as a web design agency or whatever, as a web design business, because I like doing web design, not because I want to run a business or an agency. That's just kind of part and parcel of, and then you find out about all those things, accounts and exit strategies and all that good fun stuff. But, you go into business because you love doing what the thing is that you do, and then...
But also we go into business because we love doing what we do. But, I mean, I certainly did, and here all the time, being in control, earning my own money.
Yeah.
I knew that I was being billed out a hell of a lot more in corporate than I was earning, and I was like, well, no, I want all the money.
Yeah, I think that's a really good motivator to start your own business when you're in that situation.
Yeah.
Because it's there is a lot of people who are kind of in that, maybe they're in consultancy or whatever, where you're being charged out at a rate and you know what that rate is and you're the one doing all the work. And you think, well, why am I not doing this for myself? I think that's a really good question to ask yourself in that situation.
Yeah.
Maybe you should consider doing it yourself.
Yeah. So how many years did you spend at the start of your business not knowing what the hell you were doing? Because of having no...
About 10?
I was going to say, how many years have I been going now?
just the 26 years.
Well, you never stop learning, do you?
No.
And I
No.
think that's the thing. And the world's constantly changing. Everything's moving all the time. Even like trying to market your business, there's new channels, there's new ways of doing things. Like the rules change. You never really know it all, do you?
No.
But we all just do the best we can with what we've got, and try and support each other, don't we, as we're growing. Yeah, don't think anyone has all the answers.
No.
Even Steve Jobs, I don't think, had all the answers.
No.
Or maybe I did.
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't. No, he had a really good team around him, didn't he? I mean, it wasn't even him that invented the iPhone, was it? It was
No,
Steve
a guy
Wozniak.
called Jonathan Ives from who
I thought it was Steve Wozniak.
studied in Staffordshire. Yeah, design guy. He designed it, didn't he?
Yeah.
But
He
yeah,
did
Mike Wozniak was the... Yeah.
Steve Wozniak. Yeah, you're right.
Steve Wozniak.
Yeah. Steve Wozniak designed the Apple computer.
Mike Wozniak's the comedian.
You're right.
I thought that was the character of Monsters Inc.
No, that's Mike Wazowski.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. We get there. So
Exactly.
Mike Wazowski, right? When he invented
When
Apple,
he designed...
So, let's get back on track.
Oh, yeah.
So, when I was kind of like preparing for this, I kind of felt like, nothing beats experience to get you where you want to be. So, do you think age is a great comeback to having a more successful startup?
I mean, I don't think so. I think in some ways my experience, my life experience got in the way of me as a business owner. Because I think I've talked before about I was at a network meeting and somebody said people buy from people, which the four of us know that to be true.
Yeah.
And my life experience at 44 when I started networking was what absolute hogwash that was, because I'm good at my job and that's the thing that people are going to... So I think in some ways my own kind of life experience, because I was 44, actually got in the way. Whereas I think if I'd been younger, more impressionable, more open to kind of being guided by these people that were just passing on their advice, I think I would have been more accepting of that.
Yeah, I think you can go into business, especially being older, thinking, well, yeah, I've got all this experience.
Yeah.
People are just going to buy into it. But of course, that's not what sells your business. Yeah, it's being personable, but you've got to have something kind of concrete, tangible, real to sell. And that only comes with experience of people going, I don't know what it is. So you kind of you're forced to create a really clear product and service, aren't you?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Kate?
I suppose, just touching on my own experience, the last employed role I had up until I made the decision to go and like work for myself and set my business up, I spent 10 years working in a small agency. And to be honest, if things hadn't sort of ended the way they did, they kind of went out of business in the end.
Was it because of you?
Oh, no, I was nothing I did.
Up?
I know, just a little bit of small print at the bottom there. It wasn't my fault. And then everything sort of got bought up by another agency, and everything changed. I was just like, time to go. But one thing I'm forever grateful for is that it was a really small agency, and it had a real family feel, and we got involved in absolutely everything. And I feel like that experience gave me so much like drive and vision for what I wanted to then create for myself. And I then wanted to go and work for myself.
Yeah.
And so in terms of age, I think, I was getting to sort of, I ticked over into the 30s. My children were still quite young. But I was like, I feel like I'm in a good position here because I've got like a little bit of I've got an idea here of what I want to create, and based on like all of that experience.
Yeah.
And so that was like my driver really. So, I'm very thankful for them really for giving me that, that really valuable experience that I can sort of channel into what I'm doing now.
Because I think in some ways you had a bit of a head start because, we were saying that Darren and Claire came from that corporate background, so they knew how big, but you had been involved in a smaller business.
Yeah, I never wanted to do the big agency stuff, or certainly nothing corporate like that never appealed to me. So it was great because, we got to do absolutely every part of like the design process. We used to go to new client meetings. We used to get involved in like new business meetings and, even, meetings about the business as well and how we were going to sort of take it forward. And it was just, it was great. And I think without that, I probably wouldn't have who knows? But
yeah, that's interesting.
I think it happened at the right time for me because I'd had all of that, those years of working that way and having that exposure to how a business works. And like taking the back off and seeing how the cogs go around and all that kind of stuff. And that sort of aligned for me with, my children starting school, and all of a sudden I've got a little bit more time in the day. And it's just one of those things, isn't it? Is there ever a right time to start a business?
No.
Is there ever a right time to do
It's
anything?
just
Buy a
now.
house, have a
Just
family.
now.
Sometimes you just have to go like, it kind of feels about like, I don't know, 70% right. Let's just go for it.
Yeah.
And so that's what happened for me. But yeah, I don't think you can be too old to start a business.
No.
But you just have to accept that you are going to be on quite a steep learning curve, like everybody's when they start. So.
Yeah, I think that's a key takeaway in there. It doesn't matter what age you are, but I think the more experience you can get if you're in a job before you start your business is to really get into the kind of, how to get new business, how to talk to potential clients in a meeting and anything that's involved in a small business. Because, you might love what you do, but you come out and you're like, ooh, where do I start?
Yeah.
I think that's 100% true when it comes to service-based businesses. So maybe there's a difference between like service-based businesses and product-based businesses. Because I think if you come up with a product idea and you can make something out of that, you can start a business at any age, like
Gymshark.
exactly, or
Ben Francis.
exactly,
Yeah.
That you've got some kind of killer USP already. But for a service-based business, that experience is what people are paying for. So if you haven't got that experience and you're straight out of college or something and you think, I'll just start my own business, you're always going to be kind of pitching to the sort of lowest prices and what have you, because you haven't got the value of the experience that other people have got.
You're not going to get it necessarily either. So if you like leave university, go straight into setting up your own business, you're most likely going to be entirely on your own in your back bedroom trying to do it.
Yeah.
you know, who are you going to learn from? Where are you going to, where are you going to sort of,
Get the
you don't know what you don't know. And
Exactly.
It's,
That's it.
That's interesting because you know, there was a talk recently, wasn't there, in Sutton with, is it Sarah Davis, who set up. Well, she had a product-based business, and she set that up straight from university, and now it's like a, you know, multi-million-pound business in stationery and I want to say haberdashery, but that's probably not
she's
the right
crafting.
word. No, crafting. That's it.
Yeah.
So again, she got product-based business, so perhaps there's something in that. So what have you learned about yourself in your business now, being older and wiser? What do you think you kind of do differently just because you're older and wiser?
I feel like a proper grown-up now.
How old are you, Kate? How long's this take?
44. Finally
well
got
done.
there. Yeah, I think that I worry there's a parallel universe somewhere where I didn't make the decision to start
like
my own
sliding
business,
doors.
and I'd love to sort of compare the Kate now with the Kate over on.
What, multi-millionaire Kate?
Yeah.
Who
sure you wanna
stayed
do
in
that?
a job and now running
She's called
that
the
business.
female Steve Jobs, isn't she?
Oh God, I made the wrong decision. Yeah, they're probably looking at me going, "Oh, thank God, I'm not that on planet Earth."
No.
I've forgotten my point now. But yeah, I think I worry that. Well, I don't worry about it, but I just, you know, you think about all the different like branches and the different decisions you make through your life, and you know which is the right one, which one should I have done? Maybe I should have gone down a different path and that kind of thing. But and in fact, somebody asked me this recently: have you ever had any regrets about starting a business? And I'm like,
Oh, that's a
and I
good
said,
question.
and I didn't really have to think about it. It's
No.
like, not at
No.
all. I mean, it's really hard at times. It's really challenging. It tests you. It pushes you. But the things you learn and discover about yourself is really exciting. And I think at any age, there's always something new to discover about yourself. And starting a business is going to be like a brilliant way of doing that.
Totally. And also, like your point there, if you're driven, which any business owner is, then a job is sometimes really hard.
Yeah. But I find where, you know, if running the business is hard, you're still invested to push on through and kind of put that extra long day in. Whereas I can imagine, I've never had like a corporate job, but I can imagine with a corporate job, there could be an element of the business carries on whether or not I put this.
Sometimes you can have quiet days, can't you?
You know,
I
this
certainly did.
long, whether or not I do this 16-hour day, this business isn't really going to change.
Yeah.
My tiny bit within the business will change. Whereas as the business owner, if you're thinking I need to put in a big shift here, right, that's going to make a difference.
Yeah.
You know, and also because it's yours, you have such ownership of it. I think that's the thing that certainly what I found is it's easier to do the hard work and to put the long hours in and to, you know, sometimes choose work over other things because it's yours.
I suppose as well when you've got a job, you can always hand your notice in and within a month be off doing something entirely different.
But you can't.
You've always got a bit of a, but not as a business owner, really. You're kind
but you
of.
think you can in a job. Oh, I can just hand my notice in. But of course, it's never that easy, is it? Because you've got responsibilities.
But you can always put in a holiday request form, have a day off and spend it in bed. You can't do that as a business
if
owner.
you've got the holiday.
You'll never have the... Yeah.
So, Darren, you're older. Are you wiser?
Not wiser, but I have noticed the difference in terms of running my business now is that my hands ache a lot quicker and there's a bit more creaking noises when I stand up and you know.
Yeah, I say things when I stand up.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Here we go.
All right, let's pick up this mouse. Oh, there we go. Oh. So it goes a bit like that, but, you know. Am I wiser though? I think, 100%. I think, you know, it's one of those, isn't it? Would you do things differently if you started over again? And absolutely, yeah. You know, all of those things about planning out your business. I mean, when I started my business many moons ago, and it was just like, all the tips were like write a business plan and all that. Sat down to write a business plan, but it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just want to do websites and
Yeah.
make a bit of money and try and, live. So, yeah, that's my plan. So, yeah, I think now I know more about what my goals are and what my, and I have a plan. So, yeah.
Ever felt the thrill of a story untold? At Highlander Press, we believe every voice should echo loud and clear. Introducing our Storytellers Lab. Whether you're weaving words of fiction, sharing a slice of your life in a memoir, or transforming your expertise into a lead magnet or thought leader book, we have a lab for you. Our experts guide you through every chapter, ensuring your story not only gets told, but also heard. Classes start soon, so don't wait. Visit highlanderpressbooks.com/storytellerslab today to enrol. Imagine the stories we'll tell. Highlander Press, where your words find their path. I wonder whether there's something in there, when I was younger, I thought I had to have all the answers. And if someone recommended a book for me to read about business, I was like, oh, I'm not reading that. I know the answer. Why would I read a book on it? Now I devour business and personal development books. And I don't know whether that's a young person's thing, that feeling of I don't know it all, so why would I seek out? Whereas older people, we're more open to seeking help and getting advice.
And that's the one thing, I know I talked earlier on about having that kind of life experience that could be a barrier, but the one thing I would say to anyone who is, let's say, over 40, who's starting their own business is just please be open to the advice that people are giving you.
Yeah. Well, not all people, though.
No.
Just us. Just this podcast.
Just us.
No, it's people who've been there in your position or as close to your position as possible. Yeah. Listen to those people, not your brother who works in a job who's trying to give you advice.
No, exactly. But, it is read the books. And,
attend the workshop.
Exactly. Find the podcast.
Yeah.
And
that kind of thing.
Yeah, and don't kind of get too absorbed in the kind of the FOMOs and the fears and because I think some of that sometimes you read stuff or you do things and it's like you pick up all this information. It's like I'm not doing that. If I don't do that really quickly, then it's all going to go wrong. But things don't. Everybody finds their own path, and there's loads of tips you can pick up along the way. But it's just like don't feel the pressure. I suppose it's easy to say, hard to do. Yeah. But the pressure is only usually on yourself. So exactly. So and things like the fear of missing out on things is. I'm missing out on that opportunity or this opportunity. It goes back to the sliding doors moment. Things will always work out. Yeah. And as John Lennon said,
What did he say?
He said, there's no way you can be that isn't where you're meant to be. And there's nothing you can do that isn't what you're meant to do. He also said, I'm a walrus, so I don't know if he totally knew what he was talking about.
Not everyone was gold.
But,
So is there a challenge you have right now because you are older in business, and obviously we're talking from a mid-40s to early 50s point of view. Is there challenges you have because of being older? Peter's the oldest of our gang.
I think because of the industry...
Tell us wise old sage.
Exactly. Because that's what I was going to say earlier on. I think I'm wiser, but I don't think I'm wise. I never think, right, okay, I'm finished now. Yeah. I know, I mean, I work in an industry, which to be fair, I think all of us do, work in an industry, but podcasting in particular, because it really has been something that's come about.
It's fresh
over,
still,
absolutely.
Isn't it?
I mean, it's still really only about 20 years old, but for most people, it's 10 years or less that they've even been aware of them. So that's the thing is that keeping up with everything that's going on in the industry. And when you go to kind of shows and trade shows and stuff like that, is seeing that you are the oldest person in a room.
I don't like being the oldest in the room.
And it's just being, and I take solace in the fact of I've got experience that they don't have. And that's about it. And if someone could just wake us up after about 20 minutes, because if I sit down in a warm room
After lunch.
oh, what? Not a chance. So that's my thing of just the industry that I'm in. Of it, I'm very aware that I'm in my early 50s now.
Yeah. Well, I think I have the same challenge because, you know, late 40s, I tend to not like to spend any extra time on phones and laptops. But, you know, seeing Anita's presentation this morning, someone came in and did a brilliant presentation on LinkedIn, and I was like, God, that presentation looks amazing. I was like, I've really got to up my presentation game. But I'm
That's
like
FOMO.
but I'm like that, about learning new tech and stuff.
Yeah, I think I have similar concerns in that I worry that if I don't retire young enough, is someone going to really hire a 69-year-old web designer? It's like, it's a young man's game, surely. Coming along saying, oh, I remember Internet Explorer, Netscape Navigator. Oh.
Because I've thought that, but I always think if they see the work in your case or hear the work first, if that's good, what does it matter what the age is?
Yeah.
You know, the downside of, you know, employing somebody or taking somebody on or working with someone who's, let's say, 69 is they might not get some of your references, you know, but they just... But if they still know the tech, if they can still do the job...
No, they don't.
Yeah.
Dial-up, what's that? You have to hang up to use the... What are you talking about?
So that's, you know, I think if the work's still good...
Yeah.
You know.
And also, like we said earlier, we know to seek help from outside perhaps... And I don't know whether young people might feel the same about tech because it is moving so quickly.
If they don't, they will.
Before long. Yeah. What about you, Kate?
Yeah, I suppose similar to Darren, really. I've always had that worry of, you know, at what point is like, do you want me to make your logo all funky for you? Isn't really going to cut it.
To make your logo all.
That's brilliant. Love that.
So I feel like I'm in quite a fortunate position, really, because I've got a couple of like younger designers,
true,
and they bring the energy and the enthusiasm and the new ideas and that kind of thing. And then like, I've got the experience, and then between us we have like this beautiful sort of like murky mix of out of which lovely creations emerge. So I feel like I've managed to sort of crack that bit. Other things, I suppose, worrying like, is it time for a bit of Botox? That's another thing I worry about. No, okay, maybe not. And then I suppose the other thing is, like, how does your business sort of align with your kind of life timeline, and when's time to sort of maybe start like stepping out a bit more, or when are you going to sort of, you know, call it a day, or will you ever call it a day? Will you always be involved in it, or I suppose you just have to start thinking a little bit like that. You know, what does the future look like in your involvement in the business? And as you get a bit older, you start to sort of think about that a little bit more. And yeah, I can't see a time where I'm never going to be like, I'm going to be like not involved in it in some way.
But, it's weird. But I hear you. I'm, you know, I'm 48. I'm definitely starting to think about when I'm going to finish up. But what that looks like, I don't know. I mean, I hear about business owners who are in their 70s and still working. I'm absolutely 110% clear that is not going to be me.
So do we think that there is an age that's too old to start?
No, I do not.
It depends on what you want to do as a person with your own family and what else is going on in your life, I think.
Because, I think.
What kind of person you are.
If you're 84 and thinking, you know, I've always wanted to start a landscape gardening, you might be like, all right, maybe take that a bit slower.
Yeah.
But
you might be 65 and retired from working and thinking, I really want to open a little B&B, and, you know.
Absolutely.
You know, that's, I think, lifestyle businesses for retirement. I think that's that'll become more of a thing as pensions become less of a affordable for, you know, the state or whatever. Little kind of lifestyle retirement businesses.
I'm not sure about lifestyle businesses. I kind of don't like that word really, because it kind of.
What do you prefer?
Well, I don't know what the alternative is.
Leafy-styly business.
But lifestyle business, it kind of gives you the impression that it's just something to just play about at and it's going to bring you in some money. I don't believe you can play about at a business and it to bring you, you know, a decent amount of wealth in return. I think if you're going to run a business, it does take focus and hard work at some point in it to give you the return you're looking for. And that, you know, as long as you're aware of that, you can start a business at any point.
So what was Colonel Sanders doing for 65 years before he
Well,
started?
he was making chicken, a delicious chicken. Not that I think it's delicious. I think it's greasy and disgusting.
What? Get out!
I know, that's how I feel about
KFC
KFC.
food, Kings.
But yeah, he was making chicken, but it was only at 65 and he was like, this would make a good business. I can franchise this.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So anyway, what are the silver linings, do you think, about being older in business? What do you think of the good stuff, other than experience?
Well, I think, me personally, as I've got older, you just start to feel more comfortable in your own skin, don't you, in so many ways. And I find myself now in situations, having conversations with people, and I just think, the me like 10 years ago would never be saying these things to this person in this situation. I would never have had the confidence to do it. I probably would have just gone, okay then, goodbye. And so I think that's nice because it sort of opens up possibilities and opportunities and less stuff feels really uncomfortable and scary, and you can, you know, your comfort zone's bigger, you can do a lot more and fit a lot more stuff in it. It's a great big baggy sack now, mine is. I've got like all sorts in it. Can I rephrase that?
No, let's stick
Great big baggy sack.
I think I've described it before as like a big pair of stretchy leggings.
Yes.
Let's go with that. But you know, as you get older, your leggings stretch and they feel nicer to put on, and I think it's just.
How are your leggings, Ben? Are they stretched?
Well, I don't wear. I just wear a big baggy sack with holes cut in, and it all feels incredibly comfortable. Yeah, I think Kate's hit it on the head. Of, you know, you feel that's the silver lining, is you do feel more comfortable in your own skin as a business owner. I feel comfortable telling people I'm a business owner now, whereas in the past it was like, I just do this thing, you know, I'm in no position to say, yes, I own and run a business, but I'm getting to that point where I feel more confident in saying it.
Brilliant. I think for me, it's been older. Well, I mean, I started up my business before kids, because I didn't want to have children in a corporate life and I wanted to get established before I started a family. So for me, it's, I'd say, like not having the time pressures with children. I've still got time pressures, but it's not having that when they're like really young and demand a lot more of your attention. So it feels good to have got all that out of the way and be older in that sense.
Yeah, I think the good thing about getting older is... the good thing about getting older is passing on the knowledge, obviously, to the next generation, and helping to bring them along and train them up and get them to run the business for you, make all the money, and then you can retire and
sit back.
Then
and
they'll
relax.
complain because they can see that you're charging them out at a higher rate, and then they'll start their own business. And the
just
cycle begins.
the cycle of life. Shall we finish on me singing?
Please.
Thanks for your views, everyone. That was great. So for our lovely listeners, please share, subscribe and review so our fellow business owners can enjoy, be inspired and always keep focused on the fun side of business too.
This has been a Monkey Pants Productions podcast.